What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be taking a look at the red coin and the blue coin list here. And just, seeing if there are any good updates for these characters now that the anniversary has come to an end. These shops are, stacked with a lot more units than there were when we last went over these at the beginning of the, after like the part 1 banners released. And then there's obviously a lot of these characters that have since gotten easy A's and things like that. And, the game is very different from day 1 of the anniversary as it is right now, which is, a whole, 2 months later at this point. There's been a ton of power creep, meta shifts, things like that. So yeah, let's get into it, and we will kind of reassess if any or which of these characters are worth your coins. So the first unit we've got here is the Saiyan Trio. I would say probably not. This is a unit that tends to get caught pretty early on in battle. They do have a very strong finish effect after you get their standby off, and then obviously while they're in their standby mode, they are pretty monstrous. But overall, I would say it's probably not worth your 500 coins. This is the kind of unit that's on their way out, not necessarily like just starting to get good type of thing, right? Which is unfortunate because they only released during the worldwide download celebration last year, so they aren't the oldest. But just with the way that their kit is built, I probably wouldn't recommend picking them up. Okay, the AGL Broly, same deal. The only reason why I might recommend him is just because the Super Bosses category is so bad at this point. I guess we can open up the Super Bosses category and just take a look. But yeah, there's just not a lot of help on Super Bosses. It's just kind of a really weak category. We haven't seen major buffs for it recently. So, he is one of the best leaders for the category. Obviously, he's a sub-lead. This is only a 150 lead. And then Rose is just another very questionable unit that you might not even want to be running on the category, especially if you're not running a build that has a lot of the other Rose and Zamasu cards on it, right? So being a lead for Super Bosses is kind of his main cream of the crop at this point. But other than that, he doesn't really have too much use. And you have to be really careful about using him on Broly teams because his domain. So, you can only have one domain active at a time. And on the Broly team, the primary domain that you want to be focusing on is the Int Broly's domain, who more than likely would be your leader, or at least your friend leader if you aren't using him as a lead. So yeah, this domain kind of, goes to the back burner, and then without his domain, this guy looks even more like a fish than he would. So, yeah, just cautionary tale with that guy. He could be good if there's some of those tough, tricky Super Bosses missions that you're missing and stuff. But other than that, I definitely wouldn't recommend getting this guy. We Saiyans have no limits. Yes, we do. They have massive limits. Don't get this guy. This is one of the worst units on the list at this point. Definitely don't get them. Yeah, same with the 8th anniversary LRs here. Probably not wise to pick them up. I mean, I guess strategically for a future EZA, sure, because obviously, much like the 7th anniversary LRs, I imagine these guys are going to be pretty busted when they do eventually EZA, which will be in a year from now. During the 11th anniversary, they'll get their EZAs. But, for the next year entirely, they're just going to be garbage, so I wouldn't recommend getting them. Now, this is a good option. This is a good pickup. Wait, why are these out of order here? Are they not? Oh, okay. It's just because it has the banners listed, one banner and then the other banners below. So yeah, the 7th anniversary LRs are going to be a massive pickup. That is and in fact, if you don't have them, specifically with the LR Super Saiyan 4s, if you don't have them and you have 500 coins, buy them right now. You absolutely should buy them. This is the best unit on the list that you could possibly get with your coins. This unit is insane. They stack so fast. It only takes 2 turns worth of super attacks to get them upwards of 1 million defense. They've got the 77% chance or 77% damage reduction turn 1, and then 77% again after you transform them. So they get 2 turns of free protection. Once transformed, this guy is insane. Maybe number 1 in the game, maybe probably at least number 2 or 3, behind the 10th anniversary Dokkan Fest. He's just insane. He's got guard, he's got a permanent scouter, he's got a 70% chance to counter super attacks, and if you're below 50%, he guaranteed counters them. He hits so freaking hard. Like, this unit is just incredible. Absolutely incredible. And he's on a lot of the meta teams, right? He's on the 10th anniversary Dokkan Fest teams. His own team is actually starting to wind up looking pretty good at this point, right? So yeah, definitely a wonderful pickup. Number 1 on this list. The Int Evolution Blue Vegeta can still be pretty good. The Universe Survival Saga team is not what it once was. Like, once meaning right before the anniversary started, when it was basically the best team in the game, besides, like, maybe Majin Buu Saga, and then now it's, like, probably the 5th best team in the game or something. So yeah, he is still one of the better units on that category. Maybe. I would say maybe this is a pickup. If you don't have him at all, and you have a lot of coins to spare, then sure, it could be worth the 500. But if you're missing some of these other big behemoths, I probably wouldn't prioritize him over that. STR Vegito, definitely not. They are aging out at this point, and then especially in fights where you're not able to transform them into Vegito, they are kind of fish in base form. They're really not the best. And then, you know, Vegito has always had the problem since inception, and then even right after getting his EZA, that once you transform him, he is very susceptible to taking damage from super attacks, right? So yeah, not the best unit. I definitely wouldn't recommend that. The Namek Goku could be pretty impressive. He obviously does require the more long-form events to stack up a lot. He is unable to, you know, perform well just right out the gates. But the Festival of Battles is something to mention, and I guess that's something to mention with this unit as well. This is like one of the top 3 units in the game to be using for the Festival of Battles, and this guy would be top like 6 or 7 to be using in the Festival of Battles. This is definitely one of those units that can help you get through stage 50, but then ultimately just help you get like as far as you are attempting to get, right? So yeah, he does have a very relevant use in the modern meta. And I would imagine because they released an event like the Festival of Battles, usually what they do after they release some challenge content that just jumps pinnacles beyond what we already have, kind of like the first time that we saw a Red Zone stage release, or the very first Super Battle Road that came out, or the very first time that a Dokkan event even released. Usually what happens is we see a trend of more of that level of content coming. So I would assume that we can anticipate a lot more long-form, very tough, challenging content coming. So that we could potentially see a lot of use out of this Namek Goku in months and the like year or maybe years to come, right? Okay, so AGL Vegito, he could be worth it. Here's the thing with this guy. He's not my favorite unit. He has the same problem as like the STR Vegito, right? Where if he gets supered, you're probably just going to get clapped really hard. He does provide a decent bit of damage to the team. His counters are like the main thing that you're looking for there. I believe he has a built-in scouter as well, right? I have to remind myself. Let's see here. Oh, is this even showing the Super EZA? It should be, right? Yeah. Let's see. When HP is 50% or less, he has the Scouter for 2 turns. Yeah, so only under 50%. If you have him paired, if you're planning on using him alongside some other unit that has a Scouter available for him, I mean, he is on the 10th anniversary LR's teams, and they have Scouters. He's on this guy's team, too, and he's got a Scouter. So, yeah, I suppose there's places you can use him to keep him safe, but if you don't have the ability to determine where the super attacks are, just expect to take a lot of L's from this guy accidentally getting clapped by supers, because he just can't handle them. But I would say for only 150 coins, he is definitely worth the spend, if you just don't have a copy of him at all. He could be very useful for you. It's also nice that he is a refreshing change of pace, because a lot of units do need to stack up right now. And in fact, this is going to be true for all 5 of these Super EZA units. And I might as well kind of talk about all of them at once. I would say they are all 5 of these units are worth the coins right here. Because they cost such little. They're only 150 coins a piece. All of these units are meta-relevant, very busted, right? This guy, as long as you get 3 Rainbow Orbs, he's going to have 66% damage reduction. At the Rainbow level, he's putting out you know, depending on the leader skill you're on, upwards of like 25 million, 30 million attack stats. So he could be very, very impressive for you. Also, one of the most powerful units on like the Majin power absorption, artificial life forms kind of builds right now. Definitely a staple to be using there. The Gogeta here is going to be providing a lot of attack support to, you know, your rotations, and he's going to be doing just a lot of damage. He does a bunch of additional super attacks. It's really easy for him to get guaranteed crits, and he's got attacks effective against all type, being a Super Gogeta unit, right? Not to mention he is on the 10th anniversary LR's teams and the 7th anniversary LR teams, so that is very good for him. A lot of places to use this guy. The Janemba, 90% dodge in slot 1 before attacking, and then 70%, I believe, anywhere else. So, yeah, very, very powerful there. He buffs, you know, some of the weaker teams in the game, like Kuroda Body and Mind, is the very first one that comes to mind. He's also on Accelerated Battle, so he's on Glorio's team. So yeah, he can look really, really good. I've made quite a few team builds where I use the physical Janemba, the physical LR Janemba as my lead, and then I put him on the team. Having 3 of those Janembas that are practically invincible is just really, really cool. But the one cautionary tale with him is that if you don't put him in slot 1, he's not going to be doing much damage because he does get a lot of stat buildup based on how many attacks he dodges. So you kind of want to put him in slot 1 for that. But then also if he gets hit with attacks before getting that build up, then he is going to be liable to get you killed, right? So obviously any fights that have dodge canceling, which have been more prevalent in the 10th anniversary than in the years prior. So be wary of that. And this guy definitely won't be one that you want to use, right? And then the Tech Cell, he is an absolute monster. With all of his passive active, as long as you're facing off against a super class enemy and you pick up a couple of rainbow orbs with him, he's going to have massive amounts of damage reduction. He's got the nuking passive, so if you get a lot of orbs with him, he's going to be hitting upwards of 20 million attack stats and tanking most stuff in the game, right? So very, very good for him. And then also these 2 units right here are Big Bad Boss's units, so that's just another big up for them, right? Okay, Int Broly. I would say yes. I would say yes, it's worth it to pick him up. So the reason why, and the only reason I've discovered this is because of my JP account. On my JP account, I don't have this guy. There are so many missions in the game. So many missions in the game where you can use this guy. Now, that doesn't just mean for these couple of categories, Uncontrollable Power, Revenge, and Planetary Destruction, because the thing is, all of the units among these 3 categories fit a lot more categories in the game. So there are so many different missions where you can, you know, like, let's say you had like a movie bosses mission. You could very easily make a movie bosses build with characters on, you know, this category type of thing. Like, there's a lot you could do. But yeah, he is on just so many different categories here. I would say that it's definitely probably smart to pick him up. And for all of those other really, really good like Broly cards and mainly units that are on Uncontrollable Power, you know, it's just really nice to have this guy around as a lead, because using his domain just helps, you know, buff up all of these units. Like, look how many are here. Dude, it's so... You've got the Int Fat Boo, you've got Cell Max, you've got Physical Janemba, you have the new Super Saiyan 3 Goku, you have the Tech Broly, the other Tech Broly, you have the Tech Buhan here. Like, so many good units. STR Kid Buu is pretty behemoth-like at this point, right? A few other units down in here as well. The Int Janemba we've got. But yeah, so like, oh yeah, and then I guess like the STR Broly here. Yeah, so lots and lots of good units that he can help buff. Tons of places to use this guy. He is so relevant, and I am so mad that I don't have him on my JP, because he is a very, very useful unit. So I would say if you don't have him, he is probably worth the coins. Beast Gohan, not a question. He is still one of the best defensive units in the game. Obviously, he's not performing well in like the festival battles or whatever, because he's not like a build-up unit. But for the majority of challenge content in the game, this guy is going to be a very safe option that's going to, you know, basically carry you through. And he also has a very solid and pretty widespread leader skill, so oftentimes you can find a similar deal to him. Maybe not quite as widespread, but there are a lot of missions where you can build a team with this guy. The Texamasu, okay, I would say definitely not with him. He is starting to age out at this point, again, being from that 2023 worldwide download celebration. Just a little bit old. Going to be another year or so before we see their EZAs, so we'll just have to hold out for that and then see how good those are going to look. But for now, oh, actually, maybe it's going to be another 2 years until we see their EZAs, because we still have to get the Goku, the Super Saiyan Goku Carnival, and the STR Final Form Cooler EZAs. Yeah, those ones would be coming next year. So, yeah, it's still going to be a long while before these guys get their EZAs. I would say it's probably not worth picking him up. He's not, like, the most relevant or needed or usable, like, leader skill at this point anymore either, right? Okay, so same deal with the Boo Boys. This, 8th anniversary LR kind of on his way out as far as power is concerned, and it's going to be another year before he gets an EZA, so I would say hold off on that one. The LR Gods, very similarly to the LR Super Saiyan 4s, definitely a good pickup. I would say they are number 2 on this list, very, very closely behind the LR Super Saiyan 4s. These guys do suffer a little bit just because the LR Super Saiyan 4s are going to have guaranteed guard after transforming, and they're going to have a permanent scouter after transforming, and they're going to be getting extra damage reduction with Rainbow Orbs obtained, which all of those things just make them amazing defensively. This guy still has the 70% chance to counter, and then the guaranteed counters below 50%. So that is, another thing to mention with them. Or wait, is it actually a counter? I don't think it is a counter. Maybe it's a dodge. Hold on. I don't want to misspeak about these units, because these guys are actually pretty important here. Did I go to blue? Blue? Hello? Blue? Is this... Why isn't it... Hello? Oh. There it is. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Oh, so they do have the guaranteed guard as well. Okay. Yeah, see, I was already misspeaking. But then they don't have the scouter in here in their basic effects. And then... Let's see. Where is the counter part? Right here. No, right here. Yeah, okay. So, evades. So they don't counter, which is a big deal because that's a lot less damage they're going to be outputting per turn. So even they will have the dodge there, but then they don't have just a 70% chance to dodge in base like the Super Saiyan 4s, where they have the 70% chance to counter in base. They just have a 30% chance to evade, and then you get 10% more evasion per Rainbow Key Sphere. So you have to fight really hard just to get them to 70% dodge, whereas the Super Saiyan 4s have enough damage reduction that they can tank normals, and they already have a base 70% chance to counter. So they're just better. Yeah. But yeah, so these guys would be second. They are still a very, very good unit. One of the best top probably 4 or 5 units in the game for the Festival of Battles, capable of stacking very, very quickly. And same deal as the Super Saiyan 4s. It only takes a couple of turns to get their numbers looking really, really impressive, to where they can be even used in, just all of our basic challenge content, right? So yeah, very good unit. I would definitely recommend picking them up with coins if you don't have them. AGLUI Goku. I am pretty much never going to tire of this unit. Because of the way his passive works, I think he's pretty much always going to be worth the coins. Just for, like, the rest of history. Like, it's going to be still years before this guy is aged out, basically. Because he starts with the 70% chance to evade, and then, let's see. Am I tripping here? Is this not his Easy Aid kit? What is going on? Okay, this website is actually bugged. This is his pre-Easy Aid kit. This is not even his Easy Aid kit. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. That looks more correct. All right. So yeah, he has the 77% chance to evade in base, and then guaranteed evasion for 1 turn from entry, and then this here, right? The stacking 7% on top. So he only needs to evade 4 attacks. The 4th one is just guaranteed, and then from the 4th attack onward, he just has 100% dodge. that's never going to go away. That's always going to be there. So even off leader skill, even you know, against like the hardest fights in the game and stuff, he could still just dodge for you for the rest of history. The only times you can't use him is when the fight has dodge canceling, right? But they have still been proving little by little over time that dodge canceling is something that will always be there, but it's not ever going to just be everything is dodge canceling. So there's always going to be places to use this guy. And at the very least, he is like one of those characters you can just throw in the back of your team for an easy A, because he could just dodge everything, right? And potentially get you through. So yeah, this is a very, very viable unit. I would definitely always recommend picking him up with coins if you don't have him. Okay, the Tech Gogeta. Yeah, maybe I would recommend this unit. Post-transformation, he's pretty good. Because you get 80% damage reduction for 4 turns after they transform. You have the Scouter up for 5 turns. And they're just going to be providing a lot of damage for you, as well as, I believe they have a high chance to counter. I think it's just Ki Blast super attacks. But yeah, so they do still have some usability. They're still one of the more relevant units that's definitely fighting for their life in the meta. Much more so than, like, you know, these guys or like Zamasu or something. They definitely have a higher level of power. They're just not quite on the level of like the 7th anniversary or 10th anniversary LRs, right? But maybe. I would say this is one of those units where if you have a lot of coins left over, then it might be wise to get them. But if you've only got like enough for one unit type of thing, I probably wouldn't prioritize it being this unit. I bet there's better units that you could pick up. Okay, I'm gonna say the exact same thing about Namek Frieza. +1 thing and -1 thing. So exact same thing I just said about Gogeta. Slightly lower level of power than you know, than like some of these other behemoths on here, but still very, very good. He's got a lot of damage reduction. He's built for slot 1, and so the +1 that I'm giving him is the fact that he's a villain. So being on a villain team, you know, being on a lot of the villain teams is really, really helpful. You know, there's always going to be more busted superclass units than there are of extreme class units, and you know, oftentimes it's pretty likely that you're going to be missing extreme class units and need more help for those kind of missions than the superclass ones. So this could be a very viable help for you. I guess the bonus +1, in parentheses +1/+1, is that he's also good for the Festival of Battles, because this is a permanent stacking unit, right? Not quite as good as the Namek Goku, because the Namek Goku is a little more focused around attack and stuff, whereas this guy is focused around building defense, and he doesn't really need to build the defense. He needs to build the attack for the Festival of Battles to keep up with the amount of damage you have to do at the end, because his damage reduction would carry him through to where a smaller amount of defense buildup would be helpful. But yeah, so he is not quite as good. I would say maybe like top 10 units, top 12 units for the Festival of Battles overall. But yeah, so that's the pluses. And then the minus with him is the teams. That's the minus off this guy, because he is going to be on the 10th anniversary LR's teams, the 7th anniversary LR teams, and he's got a ton of really good linking partners with all of the other strong Goku and Vegeta cards in the game. Frieza is suffering on that front a little bit. So yeah, I actually think I want to open him up and take a look at his categories. So I mean, okay, here's the thing. He is on a lot of categories, right? It's not like he's lacking the categories. The problem with it: Full Power, Namek Saga, Transformation Boost, Battle of Fate, Final Trump Card, Successors, Gifted Warriors. All of those characters, or all of those teams, are made up of a big mixture of superclass and extreme class characters, and most of the time the strongest builds of all of those categories are mostly, if not fully, made up of superclass characters, where he's not going to be linking with them at all, right? So that is definitely a thing that hurts him, for sure, just because he is like a big bad boss's, you know, wicked bloodline unit is the main thing that I'm trying to point out. And so, you know, as far as his links go, that's the biggest hurt. So he can be run on these teams, and he does have a lot of teams, but the problem is, who are you going to be pairing him with, right? That's the only thing that sucks about it. So he just doesn't, there's no other good Friezas in the game right now that you're going to be able to actually like have a good linking partner with this guy and have some viable rotations. The second best Frieza in the game is this super easy A full power Frieza, but they have the exact same name, so they don't link, right? So yeah, it's that is a bit of a tough thing with him. That despite that, I would still say that he is like good enough to maybe pick up with coins. Maybe again, if you have enough lying around, then sure. Okay, Daima Goku, I'm gonna say no. I don't think Daima Goku is good enough to warrant the 400. This is pretty handedly becoming a dodge or die unit at this point. Now, he's really fun to run because he is on Glorio's team, and obviously Glorio having the really unique effect of being a Dokkan Fest unit that prioritizes being in slot 3 just means there's a lot more room to run other good slot 1 units on his team, and Daima Goku is definitely one of those. It's also nice because Daima Goku has the 2-turn support from his super attack effect, so that is really helpful for you, but he is a bit of a gimmicky unit. He's fun to use, for sure. He's an enjoyable unit. He's got cool animations, but I would just say from his overall power and looking forward toward where we're headed in the meta, this unit's probably going to get power crept soon. So I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it. Glorio, on the other hand, third on the list. LR Super Saiyan 4s, LR Gods, and then Glorio would be number 3 that I would recommend picking up here. This is another unit that is top 10 for the Festival of Battles. Glorio's team has actually been able to clear this. This is the only other leader skill in the game besides the 2 10th anniversary Dokkan Fest that has been able to provide a winning run to the Festival of Battles so far. So yeah, definitely maybe a good idea to pick him up. Yeah, he's just, what else can you say about Glorio? He's so busted. He provides so much damage. He provides so much attack and defense support for the entire team. He's got such a widespread team, leader skill that's going to constantly get buffs. Not even just as we get more Daima characters, but literally just as we get more characters. Demonic Power is one of his leader skills, so literally every single Gohan in the game is going to be on his leader skill. So every time we get a new Gohan, that's a Glorio buff, right? So yeah, just definitely one of the best units in the game. I would highly recommend picking him up. And it's actually really worth because he's only 400 coins from being a TUR as opposed to 500 for being an LR, right? So yeah, definitely would recommend to pick up Glorio. But the one thing that I will say about both Daima Goku and Glorio, if you're considering getting them with coins, is that we've got a lot more Daima content on, on the horizon. Because they decided to release the Super Saiyan 3 Daima Vegeta prior to Saiyan Day, a lot of people thought that was maybe what was going to happen for Saiyan Day, but then they just released him in the EX part of the anniversary instead, so now they're doing the whole Kid Goku thing for Saiyan Day. I think what's very likely is that we see another major Daima collab for Golden Week coming up in another month in April, right? So if that were to happen, I think it's very possible that we could see these guys return again on those banners, if it's a Daima collab, right? So we'll have to stay tuned for that. But yeah, I think it's going to be very likely that throughout 2025, we are going to see these guys on countless banners. So just keep that in mind. Okay, we have the AGL Namek Vegeta here, another unit that could be worth picking up with your coins. He's another one of those ones that's probably top 10 for Festival of Battles. Seeing kind of a trend here. They have made a lot of these Festival of Battles, strengthened characters, like, available right now. It's kind of nice that they've done that. But yeah, this guy's an infinite stacker as well. He does perform very, very well in there. The big problem with him is he doesn't really perform too well anywhere else. He's good with, being stacked up a super high amount, but other than the Festival of Battles, he kind of isn't super meta relevant right now. I would put him as very comparable to Namek Goku. Looks amazing for Festival of Battles, but everywhere else, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. So I would say probably not in that case. Probably not going to be worth your coins. Okay, the AGL Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku. This guy is really good for short-form content. One of the better Majin Buu Saga characters for short-form content. He's got a really nice leader skill as well that can help you out with a lot of missions. But that subtractive damage reduction really hurts him, right? He starts with 90% damage reduction, and then every turn that passes, he loses 15%. So after 6 turns have passed, you're just kind of in danger with this guy. You definitely can't run him in slot 1 anymore. Which is kind of a unique thing. There's not a ton of units that you can pair alongside that, right? Because usually units are a slot 1 character or they're not. So the fact that he starts as a slot 1 character and then dissipates that ability hurts your team because that means you're going to need to have another character that can replace him and go in slot 1 instead, right? And oftentimes, if you had a character like that on the team, then you would have just wanted them in slot 1 in the first place, right? So yeah, I don't know. This guy definitely has some usability. Like I said, his leader skill is pretty good, but I don't know if he'd be worth the 400 coins at this point. Probably not. It seems like he's more on his way out, if anything. Okay, so the Int Fat Boo. Definitely will be worth your coins. This is a worthwhile unit to pick up. He is going to be... he has one of the better leader skills for a lot of those extreme class missions. Same thing to like the Int Broly. This is another unit I don't have on my JP account that it just sucks that I don't have because there's so many team builds I would love to make collective of these categories that this guy would be useful for. And he just has a massive amount of help in his kit because of the free revive that he has proccing from turn 1. So you're going to be able to just revive no matter what when he gets KO'd. And then post-revive, or I believe it's like turn 7 or something like that, you get his Ghost Usher active skill. Yeah, 7. Turn 7 or after the revive. Then, you know, he gets the Ghost Usher active skill. So basically, 2 free turns of protection. Now, while this is really good for challenge content, this is also really, really useful in easy A stages. This is a fun unit to be able to just throw on any team, even if he's not on, even and especially if he's not on the leader skill or the type effective category, because then you can guarantee he's going to take that KO the first time he's around, giving you the revive, and then the next time he comes back, he can provide that Ghost Usher active skill for you and give you another free turn of protection. So yeah, oftentimes you can get upwards of 7 turns in an easy A before he's going to be like a problem, even when he's like not on the effective category or anything. So yeah, one of the best utility units in the game. Because of those abilities that he has, he is going to be relevant for years to come. Think of like the Tech Android 17 and 18, right? Just because of that Ghost Usher active skill that they have, they still see use today, even though it's impossible to run them in challenge content because their stats are just garbage, right? So yeah, this is definitely a unit that I would say you're going to get use out of. You should consider picking him up with coins if you don't have them already. The GT Super Saiyans, they're good. They're pretty good. In all honesty, I haven't used them much. I've used them each like maybe twice. The Goku looks a little more promising to me than the Vegeta. I think the Vegeta's kit is just built a little wonky. Like, the Goku has a very offensively focused build that works really well for his offensive capabilities, and then the Vegeta has a defensively mirrored build that just doesn't quite build him properly for the way you want defensive units to be built, I guess, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would say that the Goku is definitely the better of the two, but neither of them are like staples that you really need, right? They're not providing like a leader skill that's absolutely necessary. They're not providing any like active skills or passive effects or anything like that. They're basically just straight up damage dealers. They don't even have active skills, right? I'm pretty sure they don't even have active skills. Yeah. Oh, he does. Okay, but but again, there's no effects. All it does is damage. It doesn't even give him guaranteed crits for the turn. It doesn't do an attack disable. There's nothing, right? He's just got like a little bit of damage reduction, and then there's like no other even like defensive abilities. There's no guard, there's nothing, right? So yeah, I don't know. I probably wouldn't recommend picking up these guys. They're fun right now, but this is the kind of kit that easily gets squashed with a little bit of power creep, right? So probably go ahead and pass on them. Okay, and then we have the STR Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. This is, I would say, yes, a unit that is worth picking up. Again, all of these old Super Easy A's, I say old because they're old Dokkan Fest, but they're new Super Easy A's, have a lot of power in the meta, for sure. This guy may be chief among them. He, was notorious historically for having that insane amount of damage reduction prior to his Easy A and stuff, and he still has that now for 10 turns, and then he still continues on from turn 11 with 50% damage reduction, and then he's just got quite a bit better kit now with his, stats and stat build-up and stuff. So yeah, especially for short form content, this guy's going to be basically invincible. So yeah, I would definitely recommend picking him up. That is a very cheap purchase, 150 coins only, would be absolutely worth it. And then the STR Super Vegeta, no. No, no, no. This was just a fill-in unit on the back end of that Daima Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta banner. Don't pick him up. His EZA has long since been aged out of the meta. He's probably the worst unit on this entire list. Yeah, definitely don't get the Super Vegeta. Okay. So now we can try and go through the blue coin list here a little bit quicker, since we just spent almost 40 minutes going through that. I think it will be a little bit quicker because there's going to be a lot more no's on here than yeses, so I'll keep it a little bit more short and sweet. Okay, so I could say the exact same things about that Gohan that I could say about the Saiyan Trio. A little bit too weak in base. Might get you caught at the beginning of battles, but his finish skill effect is very, very strong. So he can be useful for like that Dokkan Ultimate Speed Battle thing. The Dokkan Ultimate Thrilling Battle that we just got, where you had to deal max damage with a character, and you only had a certain amount of turns to do it. It's not like you're able to infinitely stack like you can do in the festival battles or anything. This guy is capable of getting to that number. So for a really strong nuking attack, he can be nice. I would say overall he's like a step above them, but still probably wouldn't recommend it for 500 coins. Probably not. Same thing with the Gammas. The Universe Survival Saga and Superheroes teams are not quite as good, quite as overtuned as they were, so I probably wouldn't recommend picking them up. That's a lot of coins to be spending on them. They're not super amazing. Definitely still usable, but not good enough to justify the coin purchase. Trunks, definitely not. This is one of those 2023 worldwide download units. They are getting aged out pretty hard at this point, and this was the worst of the bunch when they released, right? Just because he's so weak defensively. Probably wouldn't recommend that. This Gohan here, he's an infinite stacker, so technically you can use him in the festival battles. I included him on my tier list. He was on the lower end, maybe I would say like top 20 units to be using. But I haven't used him myself yet, so I'm not sure exactly how far he's going to be capable of like keeping up with in that event. Other than that, though, he's kind of aging out pretty hard at this point too, being one of the 8th anniversary LRs, right? So probably wouldn't recommend him. Physical Metal Cooler, he basically is just a gimmick unit at this point. He has that free revive, so he could be nice for EZAs and stuff, but there are some better units that you could definitely replace him with, like the Fat Boo that we were just talking about. So probably wouldn't recommend the coins for him. Just wait until the next worldwide download celebration. He should be getting an EZA, and then maybe he'll be worth the coins then. The Gohan and Krillin, this is another unit that's really good for festival battles because they're an infinite stacker. Another like top 20 unit. Same, I could say the exact same things I said about him. Haven't used him in there yet. Think he might be decent. Don't know how far you could get with him. Not much use in the rest of the game though, so I probably wouldn't recommend the pickup with coins. Physical Janemba, absolutely. This unit is going to be one of the meta-relevant units for a very long time. He's got lots of damage reduction, free guard, buffing some weaker teams like Kuroda Body and Mind and stuff. It definitely would be worth your coins. The Tech Vegeta, same deal. He is so powerful. Tons of damage reduction, tons of defense. He is one of the best extreme class tanks in the game, right alongside this Physical Janemba. Absolutely worth the 500 coins. Tech Broly, same deal. Yes, invincible turn 1, and then even beyond transformation, he's able to provide a lot of attack power, a lot of defensive capability from this unit. Going to be a very long time before we see this unit age out, and he is actually on the 10th anniversary LR's team, so is he. So yeah, but definitely good pickups. All 3 of these units are good pickups here with the coins. The Gogeta, probably not. Same deal with like the Gammas. The superheroes, movie heroes builds are starting to age out a little bit. I suppose this guy is a step above just because he has the Team Protector mechanic, right? Once you transform him into blue, and then you're able to get the active skill off, then he has the target all mechanic where he dodges all the attacks for the turn. That's definitely not nothing. That type of ability can help you, get through like the final phases of some of the hardest content in the game. So that's definitely something to consider. But overall, I would just say the rest of this unit's kit is looking a little bit undertuned comparative to a lot of the 10th anniversary buffs. So probably I would not recommend getting this guy with the coins. This future Gohan, being from that 2023 worldwide download celebration, same alongside all those other units. He's aging out, not worth the coins. Don't get him. And then same deal with the Kai Goku, 8th anniversary part 2 LR. We'll wait until the 9th anniversary when they get their easy A's, and then maybe he'll be better, but for now, wouldn't recommend getting him. This is another Carnival LR from the 2023 Worldwide Download Celebration. He's fodder right now, but once we get to the next Worldwide Download Celebration, he will get an easy A, and then maybe he'll be worth the coins, but don't do it now. The Namek Vegeta, very aged out, definitely not worth the coins. Okay, this Int Gohan here, he just got his Super Easy A, and it is quite good. It is quite good. He can deal a lot of damage. The problem is, he's not defensively strong enough that you would want to prioritize him, having him on a main rotation. So typically speaking, when I've used this unit, and I have used him quite a bit through some of the challenge content in the 10th anniversary here, but primarily when I'm using him, I end up throwing him in slot 3. And the problem with putting a nuking unit like that in slot 3 is that you have to be careful with your orb selection throughout the turn, because if you're selecting orbs with units in slot 1 and 2, then oftentimes what I find is that there's not enough units, or there's not enough orbs left over for him to get a really strong nuking attack in slot 3, right? So this unit only can go so far with that, and I would say his 10th anniversary equivalent with the physical Super Saiyan 2 Gohan just does better. He gets to higher defensive numbers, he hits harder, he attacks more, and he doesn't require nearly as many orbs selected. So, yeah, he just already has, like, a suitable replacement, right? So yeah, I wouldn't say he's worth the coins, even though it is a very, very good unit, probably one of the most powerful units on this list. Well, these three are the most powerful on the list, but other than them, yeah, he's probably the most powerful unit here, but I still wouldn't recommend it. And then all of the things that I just said about this Gohan, you could say again about this Kaioken Goku. A nuker, he's not a slot 1 unit, which means he's, you're going to have to be careful about the orb selection. He is a little defensively better than the Gohan, I think, overall, but still probably not worth picking up with the coins, I don't think. Okay, so that goes ahead and rounds out the list. If you had any other intricate questions you wanted to ask about any of these units, feel free to ask in the comments, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Love giving out information about all of this stuff. And if you have any differing opinions, then feel free to shout that out in the comments too. Maybe there's something that I overlooked or missed or forgot about with some of these units. I am not a perfect robot, right? I have learned a lot of these units' kits over time, but I always have more to learn about Dokkan every day, right? Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and finish it up here. Hopefully that helps you guys make a more informed decision of how to spend your coins before a lot of these units disappear in a couple of days here, at the end of the anniversary celebration. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below. That's going to do it for this one, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace!